Right, if you fool around with firearms long enough, eventually you're gonna come across a lemon. A gun that just doesn't work well. Doesn't work well with a broad range of ammos or bullet types or whatever. Like something you just can't get consistent results out of. So you might be asking yourself, is it necessary or worth it to actually take a firearm like that, like a rifle, and send it back to the manufacturer for repair, replacement, or whatever? So in this video, we're gonna explore that just a little bit. So in the past, I have found with manufacturers and sending rifles back to them, and this is experience from working at a gun store and running my own FFL, is very often what happens, you send a rifle back for repair and replacement or whatever, they'll look at it, they'll scope it, they'll measure it, and then they'll go fire it with ammunition they know works relatively well in those type of firearms in a very controlled environment, very controlled range, indoor ranges and stuff like that. Fire a few rounds or a few groups, find one that is closest to what they guarantee for their rifles, send it back to you and call it good. This has happened quite a lot. They don't change the barrels, they don't do anything like that. They just basically torque everything down, check the chamber specs, fire a few rounds or fire groups or whatever until they get one that kind of makes it look like it's okay. So in the past, I've always said, no, don't bother, don't even waste your time with the rifle sending it back. Just go to a gunsmith, rebarrel it, whatever. The rebarreling process is easy enough these days. Or just sell or trade that sucker to somebody who doesn't really care if they have a 1 MOA gun. A 2 MOA gun works just fine for them. They just want something to shoot, or trade it in for something new at a gun store or whatever. Let it become somebody else's issue to work out. That's my general take on things. It's kind of a waste of time sending stuff back to manufacturers. But recently I've been working on this Bergara 7 PRC. I've been working with it a lot. I've gone through a lot of different hand loads, a lot of different factory ammunition, and I just couldn't find the consistency with it that I wanted. Now that doesn't mean I couldn't get it sub MOA, because I have gotten it sub MOA. I've shot it with a suppressor, I've shot it without a suppressor, I've changed the muzzle brake, I changed the stock, I did all those things, I recrowned it, checked the chamber, checked the bore, checked all those good things before ever even talking to the manufacturers, and I got the rifle into a shootable configuration with a couple of hand loads I know would work pretty well for my application, and that being just hunting and some long range target shooting just for the fun of it. But I made a video on this one talking about why I wouldn't buy this rifle again off the shelf. This is the B14 Wilderness Sierra 7 PRC, specifically from Bergara. And Bergara reached out to me. So Bergara reached out to me through my social media channels and asked me if they'd be willing to send the rifle in for testing and evaluation. My hesitation with that initially is that I had already done everything to it that the factory would probably do to it to check the specs on it to make sure that it works well, and I'd already worked up hand loads that I knew could work pretty well in this thing, so I kind of already had it in a place where I really don't need to send it back. I really don't want to send it back because it's kind of a waste of my time, and it always has been in the past, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and do it anyway because they respectfully reached out to me through my social media channels, and I can dig that. I can dig that respect or that level of care in a company that says, hey, we notice you have a product of ours that is not working to your satisfaction, so send it back, let us look at it. So a few weeks back, that's what I did. I sent this rifle back to Bergara, and they have recently sent it back to me and have checked it out to make sure it falls within the manufacturer's guarantee of accuracy, and they sent me back a sheet with what they did to it. So I'm going to put this thing back together the way I had it, with the stock I had it on, but I'm gonna leave their manufacturer's muzzle device on there, so they just put the thread protector back on there. When I sent it back to them, they actually stripped off my muzzle brake that I had put on there for using my suppressor with, so they stripped it back to factory spec, put it back in the factory stock, and this is what they did to it. All right, according to their nifty little sheet here, this is what they did to this rifle. Verified headspace, check, already done that, did that myself. Action screw torque, check on that as well. And pulled it out and put it into a different actual stock. But they did that back into the factory stock. I gave them the factory stock back so they could check the action screw torque. Fantastic. Check the muzzle brake bore diameter, which is this thing, which is still in the tape that I sent it in. This is the muzzle brake. And they checked the bore diameter. So it looks like it's good. But it's still in the tape that I had taped it to the box in, so I don't know if they checked it on the gun or not. I'm assuming not. Crowned and cleaned, installed rail, and sent to the range. Crowned and cleaned. I had already crowned it before I sent it back to him. And let him know this too. Like, I already crowned this thing. I already checked, chamfered the crown, basically, check it out. What did they do to it? I can't really tell. They didn't run a machining thing in it because the machining marks from what I did to it are pretty much still there. So I don't know what that means, but they said they crowned it and checked the motor. Okay, great. And then they sent it to the range and shot with Federal 175 grain Fusion. 3-shot group. Federal 175 grain Fusion. Okay. Rifle was not tested with customer's brake. Inspected, cleaned, and lubed. So what was the result of that? Their little tests and all the things they did. Well, they sent me back this little test group card here. And let's see, they tested on the 18th of February, 7 PRC, Federal Fusion, 175 grain Fusion. Ugh. Some bunky crap. But anyways, they claim to have gotten, and this is the card they sent back with me, a .879, yes, .879 inch group with this thing, with 3 shots. So that looks pretty good. That looks pretty promising. 0.898, excuse me, 0.898 inch group size with 3 shots of Federal Fusion. So after going through all of that and getting my rifle back, now I gotta put this thing back together and see if what they did to it actually improved the results I was getting with my loads, or if it's even enough to tell. Because all of the things, here's all of the things that they did to it at the factory, I'd already done. So did they make an improvement? I highly doubt it. But let's put it back together and find out. So basically, they just took my muzzle brake off and went and shot it. But they didn't rebarrel it because they obviously didn't see a problem with it. So that just brings to question the problems and issues I was having with this at the beginning, which were very inconsistent. Regularly shooting 2 to 5 minute of angle with factory ammo that I tried, although I didn't try the Federal Fusion because it's generally not good ammo and I don't like it. Did they actually do anything to this rifle that I hadn't already done? And was it worth my time? That's the question. Okay, this is not a question of whether or not Bergara's customer service is good, because it was fantastic, it was excellent. They reached out to me, loved that. And they were willing to take a look at my rifle. Pretty sure that if there had been a problem with the diameter or the bore or something like that, or they found a problem with the barrel, they would have rebarreled it for me. That was the indication they gave to me, is they would have rebarreled it if need be, which I love that. I can fantastically get behind that. That's wonderful, thank you for that. So I appreciate that in Bergara, but was it necessary in this case for me to send it back? And am I gonna get better results after having done so versus what I had already done to it? We'll find out. All right, let's do it. We're back together. To the range we go. Got everything torqued back down. Some fresh camouflage applied, because why the heck not? And we're gonna go test this bad boy out with control group. No, I'm not gonna use Federal Fusion ammunition. I vomited a little bit in my mouth. Federal makes some fantastic ammo, don't get me wrong. I love their gold medal match stuff and their terminal ascent stuff. Fantastic, beautiful. Chef's kiss. However, Fusion is Walmart ammo. Why Bergara chose that to test this rifle with? Maybe it was the best shooting of the group that they did. Maybe they tried different rounds. I don't know. I don't actually know how many different types of ammo they tried when test shooting my rifle when I sent it back. But I guess the Fusion gave them the best group of the set. So, but no, I'm not gonna try that. I'm actually gonna pull some of my hand loads out that I know shot the best in this thing before I send it back to them. I'm gonna try those again as our control group. And then maybe we'll pick up some factory ammo, some of the Fusion, or not Fusion. Oh, I just did it again. Oh, maybe we'll pick up some Federal Terminal Ascent and try that out if I feel like spending $150 on a box of ammo today. Okay, so where'd we end up with this? I am going to keep the rifle. I figured out what it really needed was some Cerakote, so, or Brownell's Lumihide. So went ahead and painted it a little flat dark earth, a little OD green, just to really make it blend in a little better. Went to the range and shot it. Got it zeroed back in, everything cool there. Actually got it zeroed, so that was pretty cool. That's always a good start. But where did we end up? Group testing. Okay, so I took the best groups, or the best bullet that I've had luck with in this rifle, and I shot 2 different variations of some powder charges I've been trying out, and I've gotten some pretty decent results with, and that is with the Vita N568. It's not the most high velocity I've gotten out of this thing, but it is the most consistent and the most accurate with the Bergara hybrid target. So that's what I set my control group and my zero with. I started out with a 72 grain group, a 5-shot group with 72 grains of the N568. I'm theorizing about 2,800 feet per second velocity with that. I'm not 100% certain, so I've got to load up some more and test velocities now that I know that it shoots accurately. But I got a .430 minute of angle 5-shot group out of that bad boy. And this was after fouling the barrel, zeroing it with some 180 ELDM, kind of a practice load I developed. It worked pretty decently, I'll get to in a second, but under half-minute group with the Bergara hybrid targets. That's pretty cool. It's happened before. I have a couple other tests that I've done with the Bergara hybrid targets with some different powders and different brass and stuff like that, and I'm consistently getting sub-minute with the Bergara hybrid targets, so that's consistent. So with this group, under half-minute. Further testing is going to be needed. I'm going to put together some more rounds now that I know that it's kind of capable of that, shooting well. It does not appear that there's a problem with the scope. I don't believe that my problems have been with scopes with this thing. I have tried 3 different scopes on it. So right now I'm just sticking with the Burris XTR2 in the 3 to 15 power range with the mil dot reticle. So that's the scope I'm kind of sticking with for this one, and I don't believe the scope's a problem. So all that stuff is a little, is back to normal and all that good stuff. And I actually went a little bit lighter on the torque this time than I normally do with the action screws and stuff like that. I backed them down to about 60 inch-pounds, not 65. Just because I noticed when I got the rifle back from the factory, it was a little bit lighter than I would normally see torqued down anyway. So let's move on. Next shot string was with the 73 grains of N568 Vita in the 180 Bergara hybrid targets, and I pulled about a .592 minute of angle group. So hovering right around that half-minute, say sub 3/4 minute group with that bullet in 2 different powder loads and a full grain of powder apart. So I have a pretty big spread in that powder range. I've actually tested it at 70 grains as well. So from 70 to 73 grains with the Bergara hybrid targets in Hornady brass, I can get sub-minute pretty consistently out of that. So it reflects what I was getting prior to sending the rifle to Bergara, maybe a little bit better. Okay, so this is trending a little bit tighter of group size. And then I also tested some of my 180 ELDM loads that I had going, prior to this. The first load group I tested was my zero load, and it's I think I'm using Ramshot Grand in that one, and I got a .8 minute of angle group. So that's pretty indicative of what I was already getting with that load prior to sending the rifle to Bergara, maybe hovering just a little bit more than that, so closer to the 1 minute versus the 3/4-ish minute area. If you look at the shot string here, it's only 3-shot string on this one particular one, and I had made an adjustment after the first 2 shots. So the first 2 shots were on the bottom, and I actually adjusted up and left 2 clicks, up 2 clicks, left 2 clicks. And so when I calculated here in Ballistic X, I actually compensated for that and dropped that where I kind of roughly estimate that 3rd round would have gone. I did a couple other shot groups with some 180 loads that I know what they were shooting prior to sending it to Bergara, and they were shooting about 2 minutes, okay? And I had some of that ammo left over, and I didn't even bother, putting the loads in Ballistic X and getting visuals of them because they were shooting about the same. So the load that is kind of like my junker load, that it was one that, I didn't work out great to begin with, so I just had a few left. I finished shooting those up, and the groups I got out of that were hovering right around 2 minutes of angle, which is very, very close to what they were at before I sent the rifle to Bergara. So overall, I don't know that sending it to Bergara improved anything in this context. Maybe it did a little bit. I mean, those Bergara hybrid target loads that I've got and that I've shot so far were trending a little tighter than before I sent the rifle. But there's two variations of that, because before I sent the rifle, I had the muzzle brake on there that was factory, and it was in a certain range or whatever, and then I'd put my aftermarket brake on there for my can, and with my aftermarket brake and my can, it actually had tightened things up just a little bit more. We're talking, you know, fractions of an inch more. I'd tightened the groups up already, so I'm not seeing anything, and this testing I did was with the factory brake, so I haven't put my brake back on it yet. So I just went ahead to test it like how they had tested it, minus the stock. Obviously, I changed it back into the field stock. I don't know that sending it to the factory in this case was actually necessary, because I haven't seen I didn't see a vast improvement. Like, everything shoots great now, it's all wonderful, life is good. I'd already kind of fixed and tweaked, like I've said multiple times in the video already, I've already kind of fixed and tweaked the things that they were going to do anyway. So I'd kind of already done the work before sending it. But I will say this, it did not get worse, okay? The rifle didn't get worse. The loads I have developed for it, and the powders and the bullets that I've been trying that I know I was trending towards a good result with, are definitely showing me a good result now. Like, I have a solid, consistent, I guess you could say I just have peace of mind knowing that the rifle has been looked at, it has been scoped, it has been professionally gone over by the people who made the rifle, and have verified that there's nothing wrong with it mechanically. And that makes me feel a little bit better, like, okay, this rifle just may not shoot good with some bullets and some loads and some powder types. It's just going to be all over the place. And with factory stuff, who knows? I am not in the mood to buy factory ammo at all right now, because it's just stupid expensive. Maybe I'll do some testing on that in the future, but I really don't need to anymore, because I actually have loads worked out for this rifle already that are working really good. Like, the Bergara hybrid targets are a fantastic target load. I have 180 ELDM load today that I did try, the one that I got, you know, that sub-minute group out of. I went ahead and I had probably 50 to 60 rounds of that already loaded up. So I took that with me, tried a group or two out. Life is good, still sub-minute with that load, the 180 ELDM shooting ram shot Grand. And I took that out to 850 yards today to try it out after getting my zero set and everything's good. Let's try for 850. Let's just throw one out there and see what happens. Let's go 5.5, 0.3 right. Bingo. Okay, that one's working. Let's do it again. Oh, wind died. Elevation is good. Windage. Yeah, dang, that wind is almost nothing today. Right now, at least. Dead wind. Dang, that is dead on. All right. Dead on out to 850, at least with these ones. Those seem to be shooting pretty consistent. Gotta work on the Bergers. And it shoots really similar. That load and the Bergara hybrid targets are almost right on each other when it comes to zero. So I zeroed with my hybrid targets because that's gonna be my primary target load. I think I'm gonna stick in that, you know, in that range somewhere with the 72 to 73 grains. And so I tried that 180 ELDMs though at 850 yards, and it was absolutely dead on. Like, no question. Like, if I had to hit a pie plate at 850 yards, I could put the bullet there. The wind was almost nothing today. I had a quartering to-ish, you know, from this, you know, 2 o'clock position, about a 5 to 7 mile an hour wind, so I was on almost no wind, and it died down a couple times while I was shooting to almost nothing. So super pleasant day. Density altitude was in a sweet juicy spot, just under 7,000. You know, temperature 60 degrees. Life is good. This is a good shooting day. So I got some good results today. I got to test the rifle in a very good atmospheric condition to get a really good read on what it'll do. So I actually just went ahead and started taking pot shots at different ranges, and it was lights out, unmistakably accurate. Like, I can just hit what I need to hit, like, confidently. Like, if I had to hit a deer-sized target at 850 yards with this thing today, or a coyote, or even maybe even a groundhog, I could have done it, and I know it could. I was like, yeah, that's on. Those 180 ELDs fly really, really well downrange. I didn't have a whole lot of the Bergara hybrid targets loaded up, for downrange shooting. But the accuracy I got at 100. Once I get my velocities figured out for those, and I can really, you know, fine tune the zero on that load, then, I mean, you can't argue with the ballistic coefficient of those Berger hybrid targets and the ELDMs. They're both fantastic bullets and they fly great. The Berger's probably gonna fly a little better. So I'm gonna actually take my 850 yard target and put some paper up next time, once I get my load tweaked in, and I'm gonna put down probably, I would say, at least a 10 round group at that range, just to see what we're looking at, you know, just so I can have it on paper, to know exactly what we're looking at. I'm gonna put some steel out there to ring too, just for the fun of it. But that's going forward where I'm gonna go with the rifle. The hunting loads I've got worked up with the 175 ABLRs and some 175 ELDXs are pretty decent, so I need to test some more of those now that the rifle's back and everything's good. Was it worth sending it to Bergara? If you're not a gunsmith, if you don't have some of the basic tools, they're pretty basic, but they're not, it's not super complex stuff to do, other than, you know, reaming the muzzle there, you know, doing the muzzle, which I did. That can be a little bit of a process, a little bit of a specialty process, and most people aren't gonna have that. So if you don't have those kind of things, and you don't have, you know, bore snakes and chamber guides and all these things that you can do to look over the internals mechanically of a rifle and make sure that it's at least mechanically and metallurgically okay, I would definitely send it back. I mean, Bergara did a fantastic job of reaching out to me and getting the rifle done quickly in a timely manner and sending it back to me, and it was a pain-free process. And I really appreciate and respect a company that can do that and will do that. There's been a lot of growing pains with the 7 PRC in the community. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people great results, some people terrible results. I started off with a pretty bad taste in my mouth about the rifle itself and its accuracy with factory ammo. I was pretty salty about it, like it was not working well. Now that I've tweaked it, got things worked out, sent it back to the factory and had them look at it, make sure everything's copacetic there, and I've got some hand loads dialed in for it, I absolutely love the cartridge. 7 PRC is a cartridge I can see myself probably shooting the rest of my life, as long as it's available. As long as I can get a rifle chambered for it and then get the components to shoot it, I'll shoot that sucker, because it makes something like an 850 yard shot like the easy button. It's stupid easy. 6.5 Creedmoor is fantastic for long range. Where 6.5 Creedmoor is awesome and makes that look easy, 7 PRC eclipses it by a lot when it comes to just the ease of shooting it at such long distances, which 850 is the range I have that's set up. I can get a mile at that range, I just haven't got it set up yet and built a position for that yet. So, but say 850 is a phenomenal distance for people to be able to shoot at. Okay, it just is. It's a long range. It's not something average shooters or, you know, kind of your backwoods, you know, back east shooters do a whole lot of, and not a lot of people have access to a lot. So it's a blessing that I can shoot that far on a regular basis, pretty much daily if I want to. I can go shoot at 850 and maybe even set up a 1,000 yard and a mile long position there soon, so that I have more static positions for that. So it's just so stinking easy, and it makes it seem easier even than the 6.5 Creedmoor is. And the Creedmoor is a fantastic round at that range, but it just doesn't have the meat out there. This thing still has meat at 850 yards. It is cooking. I would say in this, with this rifle and a good enough hand load that is close enough in performance to the half-minute group / sub-minute, 3/4, whatever, if I had to take a shot on a big animal, trophy size animal, at that distance, I'd probably try it. If the weather conditions are right, if my position was correct, if I had a good time to set up a position and I got my atmospherics and I could actually dial everything in and the animal wasn't moving fast or wasn't running or anything like that, I would probably try it with this rifle and this cartridge. Yeah, I probably would. Yeah. Coyotes, I'm gonna go after some coyotes. I'm gonna load up a bunch of Berger hybrid targets, even some one, you know, test my hunting loads or whatever, and I'm gonna go try to smoke some coyotes this year and see how far out I can get them. Because we get coyotes out at the place I shoot a lot, out at my parents' house, and there's coyotes pretty easy to find out there, but they don't ever get close. I mean, those suckers stay out of ways. They're smart, and it's pretty open country, so you gotta reach out and touch them dudes. But I would definitely try it. If you've got a rifle that you have an issue with, made by Bergara, I would send it back. I would say that their process and their care for their customers is respectful enough and professional enough that I would send it back to them and give it a shot. See if they can't fix it for you. Because I was, you know, if there had been a problem with the barrel, it was indicated to me they would rebarrel it. And that's a beautiful thing, because that's a little bit of a process, and it costs money for the manufacturer to do that. So I can respect that. I really do. I appreciate what Bergara did. This is a shout out to them. Would I buy another Bergara rifle going forward? Yes. That question alone, yes, I would. Would I buy this particular one, the Wilderness Sierra and 7 PRC? Maybe. Maybe now. It used to be a no. It's kind of a no. But I might go for like the pro model, like the whatever they call their pro line, you know, the high grade stuff. I might go for that versus the B14 line, just so you're getting the highest grade of everything going forward with barrels and the action and the whole 9 yards and stocks and stuff like that. So the Bergara Rifle Company, I respect what they did. I respect their ethos in the company, their you know, interaction with customers and stuff like that. So yes, I would buy another Bergara rifle. I would like to try some of their other rifles, and even the CBA Cascade. There's a CBA Cascade, the Long Range XT in 7 PRC, and CBA is a Bergara, you know, sister company or whatever. I would kind of like to try that rifle just to see how it goes, because I've gotten great luck with my other CBAs. So that's the answer to the question for me. Would I buy another rifle from Bergara? Yes, maybe not this one particularly, maybe not a 7 PRC until some more bugs are worked out with factory ammo, okay, because I think that factory ammo is probably playing a pretty big part in the problem with the 7 PRC versus rifles. That's kind of the summation of my theory in this whole debacle overall with the 7 PRC, is that it's a ammo issue more than it is a rifle issue. That's where I'm at with that. Thank y'all for joining me again today. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked what you saw here, like, subscribe, comment, all those good things down below. Don't forget to keep your knife sharp, your powder dry, and your magazines loaded. Thank y'all for joining me again. Be blessed.